Hi guys. I think we can begin the session. We have a handful of students now. So very warm welcome to all of you from Yocket. And we are back again with another masterclass. And I'm sure today's I think session would be very handy in terms of the mistakes you should avoid whilst you're applying for for your study abroad journey and especially to your dream university. So more often than not, we might just encounter some subtle mistakes, that might just deter us from getting, the admit to our dream university. So we'll be mindful of that. And just on that note, we'll like to begin the session. Those of you who don't know me, just like yourself, I've been an international student myself. And that's why I would highly recommend all of you to once in your lifetime, undertake the study abroad journey. Okay, let's begin. And if you happen to have any questions or concerns, please do not shy away in penning it down in the chat section. And me and my colleague will try to address it for you by the end of the session. Cool. So, why is it firstly ever so important to avoid these mistakes? Now, students, it's very important to understand that it's not just the investment of money. Of course, money is a big part that you're investing, but it's also investment of your efforts, and more importantly, it's an emotional investment. So please know, when you're applying to overseas education, and especially with USA, it might be time consuming. Like I always say, it's not an overnight thing. It actually takes time, and it's a process of months. So with it, you actually get attached in this entire process with the university, with this entire process. It could be very overwhelming. So somewhere or the other, you actually emotionally involved as well. And that's why it's very important that we be mindful at every step, of our study abroad journey, and God forbid, not make any mistake, that might just not give us our dream university admit. Cool. So it's important, so just in that regard, that we really need to think it through. Please know, the students it's important that this dream is very dear to you. And again, it shouldn't be like an overnight thing. You probably should have at least done some research in terms of the course, the university, the region where you've been meaning to go, and definitely the course in particular. I think it's very important that you actually align your interest with that. And like I said, it should be something that you've always wanted, something that you've actually put your thoughts into, or probably your time into. So of course, you're looking at a progression. Please make sure that you whatever degree that you're undertaking, it's a progression to what you've already done. And again, like you really need to think it through in terms of the competitive exams as well. Now, especially with US education, you're looking at a lot of academic excellence. So when you actually banking into these universities, the method of filtration is definitely standardized tests or competitive exams in the form of GRE and GMAT. So if you're having a close eye on Yocket, you would definitely know that like there are so many universities that have waived off GRE for, especially for the fall 2022 and spring 2022 intake. So you can have a know-how there. But then those universities that do require a GRE, that's kind of a no-brainer. So you really have to like give those exams. So again, on that note, it's important that you start applying for I would say the exams as well as the process way too early. I think I would say ideally, let's just say if you were to fly in fall 2022, by now you should have already begun. When I say that, at least you should, your gathering of the documents should be actually started by now. At the same time, try talking to your counselors and getting a know-how of which universities will suit your candidature and stuff like that. But basically I would really say be very early in applying, because definitely if you're wanting to get the scholarships particularly, I think it's very important that you apply early, because the generous scholarships have deadlines to adhere and they exhaust early. So you're actually going to compete with a lot many people, but not just from India. So you really have to like have that buffer of time with you. Cool. Okay, just before I go any further, I would say a big hi to all the YouTube people as well. I think we're live on YouTube simultaneously right now. So a big hi to all of you from Yocket. And just in that context, we are discussing the mistakes that, students encounter in their study abroad journey, right from the time they are actually applying till I would say they actually in their dream university or dream country. So just on that note, I would want to move ahead. So what are some of the common mistakes that could be, I would say, that could be just kind of, again, it could be subtle, or it could be a dominant factor that might just kind of, deter our admission. But it's important that we be mindful of that. Cool. So the first mistake, I think, we as students might just like encounter is not aligning our interest with what we want to do. So like I'm saying, it's important that you show progression as to what you're doing and you want to upskill in that degree, but make sure that you kind of, align it with your interest, particularly, let's just say, what you did in your last academics. And again, especially for those of you who are undertaking your undergraduation, definitely whatever kind of subject that you're studying, make sure that you kind of, align your interest there and show your passion with the progression in that degree in terms of a master's. Now, let's just say, kind of, if you want to change your stream altogether, probably, let's just say, if you're a law graduate and if you want to do, if you're doing LLB, and if you want to kind of, upskill into LLM, that kind of makes complete sense. But what if now you kind of, have an interest or a fancy in sports? You definitely can do that, but you really need to show passion towards that subject particularly, and more importantly, how that kind of, like that interest sparked in you. So you really have to validate and quantify your interest in terms of, you writing your SOP or when you're making your application. But again, one thing to note here is that Canada particularly, most of the universities there do not really encourage the change of stream. So you can then look out for other countries, but definitely US kind of, most of the universities do encourage. But like I said, you really need to show your passion when you're making your application. Again, it could be a change of stream or not, that's irrespective, but make sure that you really talk about your passion, which is elementary when you're making your application. Cool. The second mistake is, submitting the wrong or probably incomplete application documents. Again, more often than not, we really might just, like not really give a lot of regard to this. But let's just say if you're making an SOP, I would highly suggest that, you make a customized SOP, try to talk about the university, try to talk about the course and modules that you'll be kind of, studying there, and why particularly you want to study in that university or that country really matters. So, of course, if you make a generic SOP, that's kind of, definitely I wouldn't say it's wrong, but then, try to be more specific to the university about the course and your interest there. I think, that really comprehends, and that actually kind of, increases your chances of getting picked for that offer of place. So, please make sure that especially SOPs are customized, and also kind of, with respect to the letters of recommendations, if you can probably talk about some project or kind of, some internship that you've done, and kind of, try to relate it with the course that you wish to do. I think, that makes a lot of sense, and that kind of, makes it easy for the assessing committee to kind of, give you the admit. So again, be mindful of that. Secondly, I think, another subtle mistake that we do is kind of, ignoring the potential scholarships. Now, those of us who are kind of, blessed with ample amount of money, lovely. But, I would say scholarships, along with monetary benefit, also have other benefits involved. Now, let's just say if you have a scholarship, if you're kind of, getting a scholarship, it could be from like an external body, it could be from a government, from a university. But once you get that, of course, you get the monetary advantage, but you also get, the access to the network of people who already got the scholarship. Now, this is a very lesser known fact, but you can actually network with the people who already got the scholarship, understand their life trajectory, and kind of, I would say, derive inferences from their, success stories, or probably kind of, follow their roadmap, which is lovely, and which otherwise we probably wouldn't get if we don't get the scholarship. So I would say, kind of, please for scholarships very vividly in terms of kind of, like I said, monetary benefits goes without saying. You're not kind of, like bothering your parents, but at the same time, I think, you get the access of the network of the students who've already been there. So I think, that's very advantageous. So, please, again, in the study abroad process, make sure that you kind of, give equal regard to scholarships that may, come in your way. And again, since we are on the scholarships page, I would also want to say that you can apply for multiple scholarships. Again, with USA also, you can actually apply for multiple scholarships in terms of your institution that you're going, or any government body. It could be a home country, it could be, the country that you're going to, and likewise. And there are external scholarships also. So I've known students who've got kind of, multiple scholarships in their tenure, and which is lovely. So I would say, please make sure that you kind of, apply early, have meritorious grades, have probably kind of, some leadership attributes to talk about, and kind of, make sure that you have an X factor in your profile. That's how you'll be able to get picked, for the scholarship. Cool. Again, another mistake that we might just make, in our study abroad journey is definitely not making a student expense budget. Now, again, this might just sound a little orthodox, where you probably have to, take a pen and paper and sit with yourself. But I think, this is something which is very, very important. Again, I would say, even before you start to apply, or you're thinking, or you're probably in the pursuit of applying, I think, working out your budget and finances is very, very prime. So, probably kind of, I'm sure kind of, since you're in the study abroad journey, you would know that there is a dominant chunk in the form of a tuition fee. And definitely, the living costs include the accommodation, the commute, it could be your stationery, it could be your miscellaneous expenses, sundry expenses, it could be kind of, like other costs involved in terms of your living there, the food and everything. However, there might be some hidden costs in terms of some administrative charges. Probably kind of, you have to submit your assignments and you might have to incur a fee towards it. Or alternatively, let's just say, if you were probably kind of, a part of a society, and that society is going for, like let's just say backpacking Europe, or probably anywhere. So it could be a work trip, it could be kind of industrial visit, it could be anything. So you really need to kind of keep some amount of money aside as a buffer that you might encounter in the study abroad journey, which is very, very important. And I think once you do that, you really know where you're heading, and you actually know how you can budget or finance yourself. So please kind of do not take this lightly. And I would say, like, as promising as this journey is, it will have kind of challenges in terms of money involved. And especially so if you're really not having finances, or probably if you're getting a loan or something, it's important that you work out the finances prior to kind of you taking this journey. So it's very important. Please be mindful of that. Cool. Another mistake, I'm sure kind of like students do, is probably just kind of let's just say, if you're too fancied by a university, you just kind of put your efforts there, you kind of make sure that you have like everything intact with respect to only that university. However, I would highly suggest that you have other options open. It could be, again, other universities in US particularly, or you can apply to some universities in Canada, some to UK, probably some universities in Australia, Europe, suiting your interest and appetite. I think that's completely subjective, but I would highly suggest that you have a plan B. Now, again, God forbid, I'm sure kind of all of us are living in this contingent times, especially so because of the last 2 years, of this entire pandemic. So many students had to suffer because they couldn't make it to the dream university, because of the contingent times. So I would say, if you have a plan B, let's just say if you have another country option open, I think it's very, very safe, and it becomes very, very easy for you to actually, make a plan B decision. So I would say, please, I would encourage, don't just make one single application. I mean, like I said, it's subjective, but then, if you have other options open, I think it could only work in your favor. So it's good that you have multiple options open. Now, let's just say if you get like a generous scholarship from other university, so that becomes easy for you to kind of, make a choice towards. So I think, that ways it's good that you keep other options open. And like I said, it could be either in US, other countries, or probably kind of, like whatever suits you. But please make sure that you have other country options open with you. Cool. Another mistake that we might just kind of, make is placing our kind of, this dear dream of ours, or placing our future probably in the wrong hands. I would highly suggest that you kind of, consult somebody who's an expert in the field, especially somebody who's been there, done that, and kind of, knows the fraternity too well. Please know, students, like I always say, the studying abroad journey is so enticing, and we only undertake it once in our lifetime. We don't do it every day. So it's important that you kind of, I would say, consult somebody who's really an expert. And do your research before actually consulting somebody, because that becomes very, very important. Once you kind of, are in association with somebody who's actually kind of guiding you, then you actually, follow that person blindly. So it's important that whoever is guiding you is the right one in the industry. So please make sure that you find somebody who's kind of, going to help you the best, and kind of, is an expert there. Cool. So I would just want to kind of, throw light on some Yocketers who've made it to their dream university, and especially to kind of, the Ivy Leagues through Yocket. So you can actually kind of, get inspired by them. So if you actually see current CGPA, it's 66.6, which is a decent CGPA. At the same time, kind of, his GRE and TOEFL are decent scores. But however, he actually made it to, Cornell, which is one of the really, really sought after universities, through a generous and through a handsome experience that he had in terms of work. So, I would say if you really want to enhance your profile and if you're not too flamboyant with your grades, I think, it's good that you work on the other parameters, which is, a work experience, an internship, or a community service as well. So I think, that's something that could be, taken care. Similarly, Soumya, she also kind of, made it to Cornell University. And again, if you see her grades, they are also decent enough. But she was also good with her work experience and internship experience. And that's why she could make it to her dream university, which is wow. Cool. But again, the catch is to apply really, really early. And I think that's how you can actually, like I said, get to know how the scholarships, probably kind of, if you are in touch with the university, you might just understand, the discount slabs, or probably there are early bird discounts and bursaries and stuff like that. So you can actually kind of, avail them as well, but provided you really, really early in time. Cool. So on that note, I would just kind of, highly suggest that you book a free consultation call with us, get your profile gauged, and, understand your prospects for, studying abroad, especially in the US. Okay. Cool. Now, on that note, let me see what all questions we have. I have my colleague Prashant here with me. Prashant, you're there?
Hey, hi, Bharat.
Hey, yeah. So as a thank you to all of you, we'll get a call arranged from our advisors. Probably in a day's time, so you can get your queries addressed one on one. But then for now, Prashant could take the questions. Over to you, Prashant.
Hey, guys. You all can put in your questions on the chat bot, or maybe if you can, turn on your mic and speak. So that would be really helpful. I can see some questions on the chat bot, and I'm answering them. So just to answer your question, Harshita, you are graduating in 2023, so I think fall 24 intake would be good for you. Guys, please hit up with the questions, on the chat bot. If you have any question, just put it out there.